Dark Souls, while easily one of the best games of the last decade in my opinion, doesn't make much of an effort to explain some of the core mechanics of the game. Now, for many players this is just part of the minimalistic style of the game, just another challenge to overcome, but for what seems to be the majority of players it can be more of an annoyance. You end up dying for reasons you don't fully understand. So this is my guide for new players on the basic mechanics of the game without spoiling anything for you. Before you even start the game, you're going to want to go ahead and download DSFix and the Mousefix if you're not using a gamepad, which I do highly recommend. What these do is they fix some issues that FromSoft didn't know how to fix themselves when porting to the PC, but they never had experience porting to the PC before and only did it because it was so widely requested, so major props to them. Make sure you read the README files as well. So the first thing to note is the first thing that comes in the game, creating a character. Now, starting classes don't really affect anything except your starting equipment and your starting stats. So if you want high intelligence, for example, you'd want to go with the sorcerer because you're going to get higher intelligence sooner. But other than that, any class can use any weapon. There's no restrictions outside of that. There are special attacks in this game, such as kicks and leaping attacks, and it's not immediately obvious how to do them, so make sure you read these orange messages at the start to learn all the controls of the game. A lot of new players skip them because they do start out very basic. One major complaint a lot of new players have is that they don't know where to go, so make sure you exhaust NPC dialogue such as this NPC, which is the first one you see in the major hub of the world. He'll provide some direction on where to go, but other than that, just make sure you explore, and if an area seems unreasonably hard, you're probably going the wrong way. Reading item descriptions can also provide some great insight on where to go, as well as some story elements, so make sure you read those. Now let's talk stats. Now, this game has a lot of standard stats like defense, fire resistance, that sort of thing, but one stat that most players aren't going to recognize is the poise stat. This determines how easy it is for an enemy to knock you off balance by hitting you. So if you have very low poise and you're in the middle of an attack and the enemy hits you, they will interrupt your attack. If you have very high poise, you can take heavier hits and not be interrupted, so you're more likely to carry through with the attack and still do damage to them. Let's touch on the roll mechanic as well, because this is pretty unique to Dark Souls, and it adds a lot of value to the light armor playstyle. Obviously, heavier armors provide more poise, more defense, that sort of thing, but they also slow you down, and there is a cost to that. First, it's important to understand what Invincibility Frames are. Now, this refers to the frames of your roll animation where your character is actually invincible from pretty much all damage. These frames take place right at the start of a roll, so the way you actually want to dodge attacks with a roll is to dodge just when the attack is about to connect with you. You'll roll right through their attack even though it looks like they probably should be hitting you. Under 25% weight burden, you do what's called a fast roll, which is the fastest, and also grants the most invincibility frames. So you have a bigger window to dodge. Now, over 25%, up to 50%, gives you what's a mid-roll, fewer invincibility frames, slower. After that, 50 up to 100, it's called a fat roll, or slow roll, and this grants the fewest invincibility frames, and is desperately slow, basically unusable. Through the use of a certain item in the game, it's also possible to get an even better roll than the fast roll. I only mention this to let you know that it is better because it grants more invincibility frames and is faster. It's also worth noting that being over 50% slows down your walk and run speed, which can be very annoying for walking around the world. And lastly, wearing heavier armors slows down your stamina regen, and stamina is used for everything from attacking to running, pretty much every action your character does. Another stat that most players won't be familiar with is stability. This is a stat that's unique to shields, and higher stability means that when an enemy hits your shield, you will lose less stamina. So higher stability is highly desirable in a shield. And while we're at it, note that stamina regenerates much more quickly if you lower your shield. Now let's touch on humanity, which is a subject that, if not understood, can lead to probably the most frustration for new players. Now in the top left you can see what's called your soft humanity. You lose this when you die. This is humanity that actually affects your character. if you go into your inventory, you can use humanity items. This is called hard humanity. It's not on your character yet, it doesn't benefit you, but you can use it to gain a soft humanity. Having soft humanity up to 10 increases your item find and increases your defenses all the way up to 99. And it allows you to reverse your hollowing, and it allows you to kindle fires. Now, reversing your hollowing puts you in human form. This will allow you to summon other players to help, but while in human form, that also means other players can invade you and try to kill you. So if you want to avoid PvP, do not go human. When you kindle a bonfire at the cost of 1 humanity, it will give you 5 more Estus flasks every time you rest at it. These are the items used to heal you, so this is very useful. Let's quickly touch on parries, backstabs, and ripostes, which are very powerful but fairly tricky moves that can allow you to deal very high amounts of damage to enemies. To perform a parry, watch the enemy's hand, not their weapon. When his hand makes a motion to attack you, hit the strong attack for the left hand to perform the parry. This leaves them open to a riposte, which can be done by using the weak attack on the right hand after a parry. To perform a backstab, get behind the enemy with maybe a 30-degree variation to directly behind them. For a backstab to be successful, you must have your shield fully lowered. Throughout the game, there are various covenants that give you different benefits, but these aren't explained at all in-game, and there's too many to go over in this video, so check the video description for a link to the wiki which explains all the various covenants. Lastly, I'll explain weapon scaling. Now, not all weapons scale, and through certain upgrade paths, it's possible to remove scaling in favor of other types of damage. But basically, this works on a grading system of E through A. So if a weapon has A grade strength scaling, that means for every point of strength you have, it's going to do a bunch of damage. But if it has D grade scaling, it's not going to do as much damage per strength point. So this is great for characters who invest a lot in strength or dexterity or any weapon that scales off of a certain stat. And while we're on the subject, upgrading your weapons and armor is vital and makes all the difference in the world. And that's it, guys. Everything a new player needs to know. I hope this can really help a lot of new players get into this game and avoid some certain frustrations. If you have any further questions, feel like I missed anything important, feel free to leave a comment, message me on Twitter. And lastly, I will say that while I do link you to the wiki, it's for specific reasons. This game is best played blind, and you should not look up any resources outside of the game if you are stuck. If you're stuck, ask another player, ask on a forum, but don't spoil anything for yourself. There's a lot of fun secrets in this game. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and especially hope you guys enjoy the game, but other than that, I'll see you guys next time.